I'm John Crestani. I'm a internet marketer and entrepreneur living in Malibu, California. Two ex-wives, two kids, and a dog.
What kind of dog do you have?
Doberman.
Oh, nice. A legit Doberman, not the little pinchers.
He's my ex-wife's dog, so I'm getting rid of him soon.
Oh,
Expensive dog though. He's a very he was purebred Dobermans are not cheap.
we have a chocolate Labradoodle,
Oh,
and I can hear his tail hitting the door of my office. He was $20,000, and the reason he was
I thought Dobermans were expensive.
right. So the breed is only, what'd you pay for your Doberman? 3-4 grand, something like that, maybe 8.
5.
5, yeah. So chocolate Labradoodle, you could probably take it home for 4 with all of its vaccines and everything. But we had him professionally trained for psychogenic non-epileptic seizures, PNES.
Oh, so he's an actual service dog,
Yeah, but now that all the members of my family that was applicable for have grown out of those seizures, he's just a normal asshole like the rest of us. He could, if we really buckled down and tried to train him for I'd probably take a month to get him back into he was dialed in for a while, man.
Yeah.
Food on the ground, he wouldn't look at it. And if we would pretend to have seizures so that he would do his job for when he did do seizures, and he was Johnny on the spot, man. He would crawl up on top of you, and the whole objective is to keep you from thrashing and keep you from hitting your head. So he's huge, 108 pounds. So just lay there, lay his chin on you. Oh, and you just can't help but he's just so yummy and fluffy.
Oh.
But anyways, I know all about dogs in that regard. So anyway, switching gears, John, what is your secret to a good life?
My secret to a good life, I would say, be unapologetically. I'd say know thyself, and knowing how I work, and knowing how, for instance, just super relevant is right now, I'm looking to find a business partner to handle operations. And a lot of I've been a solopreneur for my life, and I've been running a business that's done up to 6 million a year for, the last 10 years. But, I'm understanding that right now in this life, I just want to focus on content and conferences, and being able to say, okay, I'm willing to release control so that I can focus on what I'm best at. And I think just knowing what you're best at, instead of just having shiny object syndrome and going where whatever seems hot at the time, has been important for me. Even from my impetus of starting an internet business, it was to ski. It was to be a ski bum. It was to travel the world, because, when I was in my late teens and 20s, that was what I wanted to do in life. But I had to know that about myself so that I could direct where my life went and what path my life went on. And hence, I started going really deep into learning internet marketing, and affiliate marketing was what allowed me to not have to hop on phone calls at certain times, or, I could work on my own schedule. And this was back in 2010, when it was really much harder to be a remote worker. But I worked, I figured it out. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm here where I am today. I did something different.
What's do you have any rituals or anything that help you know yourself? Anything that you do? Do you go to a place? Do you journal? Do you meditate? I have a habit of asking my mom. I'll go to her and I'll be like, hey, you got to watch me be a bumbling freaking idiot for 18 years. Can you just tell me something about myself that maybe I don't know? Or, I think that I'm a certain way. How do you see it? So that's one of my rituals. Do you have anything like that helps you know yourself better?
That's a good question. Well, first place my mind goes to is my morning ritual, which is just roll out of bed, drop down, do 50 push-ups, go into the bathroom, splash water on my face, and make myself tea and read a chapter of a book. I do this so that, and I make my bed. I do this so I'm in control of the day. I'm in control of, my emotions, or how I set the standard for where I'm going to take the day. I also use my little moleskin journal, and I write down what I'm going to do the next day. Oh yeah, go moleskin. Yeah, I see you got one too.
It's actually a stone paper, karst.
Oh,
I looked at moleskin.
but pages are, every day gets a page. All my meeting I do gets a page, and I know what I'm going to do the next day. I like to do deep work, which takes, I say roughly between 2 to 6 hours. And that's where I try to, because I've found myself at times, it happens to everyone, where you're constantly just reacting to things around you. So I like to make sure that I'm defining my work, and that's what's also put me in a position, I guess, to be a entrepreneur.
Yeah. Cal Newport, right? The deep work master.
No, I've heard of this. I heard about it originally from Tim Ferriss.
Sure.
He explained it, and I'm a big fan.
Do you have to go somewhere other than your office or your home to get the deepest work? Right? Because that's one of the concepts that Cal Newport explores is you look at somebody like Isaac Newton or Mark Twain or any of the like high producing authors. They have like a refuge that they go and escape to for sometimes months on end. Do you have anything like that? An escape cabin somewhere or a sacred spot that you bug out to? And we don't need longitude and latitude for that.
Yeah, I got this hole in the mountain. No, I'm already in the middle of the mountains outside of LA. I'd say my office, but what I'd say really helps me is conversations, talking to a lot of people, getting a lot of different viewpoints, and then slowly kind of, if I have conversations about the same topic with 20 different people, I'm able to refine my thoughts over that period. So I really like getting lots of conversations about the same topic with people I respect or work with. And I'd say that helps me distill my thoughts on a topic.
Who's one person that comes to mind right now that's on your top 5 board of directors in your mind? Somebody that you would
Well,
go to?
I just had a great coffee meeting with this guy Mark Machuda, who runs Text Hub. He runs a SMS texting platform for affiliates. He works with a lot of affiliate networks, a lot of super affiliates, and so I definitely say talking to him earlier and walking around. I love walking and talking, or hiking and talking. I always getting physical activity into meetings or discussions helps me a lot more than sitting, I'd say. I don't think you can do a podcast while walking, though. So
I've seen people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. They do podcasts while driving, podcasts while walking, podcasts. There's a podcast on horseback. Yeah. The world is just so zany and full of love and light. A person that comes to mind for me is actually I went to BYU, Brigham Young University, a Mormon college. Was Mormon at the time that I was going there. And when I left the Mormon church, one of the people that stuck by my side that just like was ride or die was this guy named Scott Peterson. He's actually still Mormon on a mission in Germany. So they sent him to Germany, to go do his thing. And even in Germany, right, while he's serving all of these Mormons, he took the time to have a call with me the other day on a topic that I was curious on. So I've got some ride or die people like that in my network that help me make decisions. And man, he takes me to school every time. I learned so much from him, and it makes me feel like I'm a white belt every time that I talk to him.
Yeah.
Is there you're in affiliate marketing, but is there a field that you are a white belt in right now that you are trying to learn? You're obviously focusing on content, but is there a piece or a part of content or a style or a methodology that you are just at the ground level of learning right now and you're cutting your teeth on it?
Sure. I feel like I'm a white belt in so many things other than marketing. I'd give me a second to think.
Take all the seconds you need.
I feel like I'm a white belt when it comes to management. I'm great at motivating people to take action, right? I have infomercials on TV and YouTube and Facebook and all this stuff, and coached over 50,000 people. They've signed up to be mentored by me. But yet, when it comes to managing employees, 9 to 5ers, it's been a bit more difficult, because what I tell myself is part of it is I'm here selling the remote work lifestyle and freedom and all these things. Yet for a good company to run, there's that disconnect of, well, this guy's, traveling the world and driving fancy cars and private airplanes and stuff like that. And, so part of me, I don't know if that's just an excuse. And as a creative, I'm much more inconsistent than what is expected of a 9 to 5. Or I don't know if I attract the wrong people, if I interview the wrong people, if I get people motivated to join my company because I motivated them, but not because it's purely coming from their decision. I'm not sure. What I do know is that I have a very powerful voice, and even if I'm wrong, I will be convincing. Even if it's just an opinion. And I found that it's a double-edged sword, in the sense of, yes, it's brought me a monster following on YouTube, on all sorts of platforms, and built a huge business and influenced a ton of people's lives from a marketing perspective. But at the same time, that inconsistency, I'd say, that's sort of intertwined with that creativity has been, and that powerful voice has been a detriment in other ways. And that goes back to part of the reason why, the next company I start, I'm really looking to surround myself with people that can really take care of what I consider are my flaws. I'm very good at marketing. So I've really decided I'm going to focus on what I'm the best at, what I'm magical at. I have this saying that I tell my students, which is, be the James Bond version of yourself. And I ask people, what is the James Bond version of yourself? What is you? Take you to the next level. What is that ultimate style, that body you have? What is that James Bond version of you feel like walking through the world? Where is that James Bond version of you right now? Are you playing in the pool with your kids rather than sitting on the chaise lounge? Is that James Bond version of yourself traveling a little bit more often, or less scared to make calls to people that you wanted to reconnect with? So that's I try to be that version of myself.
James Bond version of me.
Yeah.
Found.
Yes.
So the regular version of me found Jesse Eitzler's cell phone number. So, Jesse, the one, he's got the big calendar that he promotes, curly haired guy. He sold his plane company for $1 bazillion. For me, he is one of the very few people that I would put a picture of him on my vision board to be like, I want to be like that guy. He's just got the, he's got the energy. He's got the acumen, the credentials, and it's just really impressive, right? And I'm a little bit hard to impress, and I know that about myself. Speaking of knowing, I typically expect excellence out of people, which is a mistake, by the way. Just expect them to do the job. But anyways, this guy Jesse, I have a tool that can look up people's contact information on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And so I was like, hey, let's try it out. Sure enough, his cell phone number was there, and the James Bond version of me is going to text him. But right now, that version of me is not in the driver's seat. And so I haven't texted him because I don't know what to offer him. You know what I mean?
Right.
I just text him out of the blue. And it's actually
You're
funny.
not good enough to text him, Eric. Who are you? How would you be of any value to him? What? You're not on that level. Don't do it. Just stay.
Stop it, Mom. I did the same thing with Malcolm Gladwell. So I found Malcolm Gladwell's information. It was actually a while ago, 2019. And I texted him out of the blue.
Oh, you did.
And I got left on red, which is fine. It was 0 out of 1. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So I've just got to go for it. So that's I'll do that today.
What's to say this other guy would? You'll just get rejected again, Eric, again. You know what? Just stay your lane. Don't do anything. Just play video games and look at your phone.
You know what I did this morning? It's actually on the same vein. So have you read Jack Canfield's Success Principles?
I've read a Jack Canfield book. I don't know if it was that one or it was a while.
Yeah, he mentioned that he has like 200 books and 60 of them have been New York Times bestsellers, which is like out of this world. One of them is Success Principles, and it's kind of like The Secret meets The Science of Getting Rich meets, like all the manifestation and like habit setting things all mixed into one. Really great summary book. But one of the things that he talks about in there is your vision for your life. It's got 7 verticals. And so he encourages you to just sit down and write down the future version of yourself and not think about how you got there. So I did that this morning, and it was cathartic and really informative, because what I ended up writing was a strategy without even realizing it.
In your vision, Eric, where are you?
I am in a slightly bigger house on a bit of land. This vision is literally what I wrote down. It says,
what are you wearing? What shoes are you wearing? Are you wearing socks?
I definitely have socks on. I'm a big sock guy.
What type of shoes are you wearing? Are you standing inside or outside, or are you sitting somewhere? Where are you sitting?
You get that granular with it. You go into the sweat on your skin, the TV station.
Sand between my toes on a beach in Thailand. My thoughts are intruded on about nothing. There's no weight. I'm staring across a sea. There's a little platform out there where some boats sometimes moor up against. Sun setting. It's a multicolored sky. I'm sitting on a hammock. Right? The smell in the air. There's not much smell in the air, but it smells a little bit humid. And there's sounds of music coming from around the bend through the trees. Yeah. You can't get that granular, then you haven't done it. You haven't created the vision yet. You don't have to, because what you're talking about, and sorry, I know this is a podcast, but I'm going in, what you're talking about is that very like fill in the blank, like, oh, where at, it's a bigger house.
Yeah. What's your job?
What do you, vision. That's not a vision. A vision is when you actually see it in your mind's eye. You hear it. You smell it. The smell of chocolate and cinnamon. You're at a family gathering. It's Christmas time. And all of your family is around your big table because you're the patriarch of your family, and you have the biggest house, and everyone comes to you during Christmas time. It's getting into that depth of a vision. It's something I actually work on with my students when they first enter my training programs, which is kind of weird because I'm teaching affiliate marketing and business and statistics and data analysis and conversion optimization, et cetera. But I start off this way with folks because if you can't create a vision worth having for yourself, it's not just more money, bigger house. Yeah, everybody says that. And I would have expected better. But no, I'm joking. I'm messing with you. But if you can't create that vision right there, you can't come back to it and realize why and understand the you need to be there, why your family needs you to be the patriarch or whatever, then it's not going to be strong enough because the world has its tendrils in our minds constantly. That notification on your phone, that dinging sound, like a freaking dog bell calling you back to, hey, there's a new post. Somebody liked something you said on LinkedIn. Look at this. Look at this. Look at me. It's so easy to get out of control of our lives. We at the very least have to have the stronger we can create our vision for ourselves, the better. And I did this way long ago, and it's crazy. And it's actually, I'm in a weird place because I went through the whole vision boarding stuff. I went to I went to a lot of Tony Robbins stuff back in the day. my vision for myself was I'm in a mansion in Malibu. I have kids. I have a wife. I don't have the wife, but I have the kids. I have the house in Malibu. I'm a helicopter pilot. I've done so many of these things. It was so weird when I reached the point and I was like, I'm comfortable. And, I've been working on that next vision for myself as well. And really, I'm in that process of
Mm.
working to make that real. But it was weird because it took me 8 years, but the vision became freaking real. The house in the place I wanted, in the mountains, the kids, family, all that. I don't know. It's the money, stuff like that. It's crazy. But yeah.
You'll be delighted to hear that I do go into a lot more detail.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out.
So literally what I said was of the house.
Yeah.
The specifics aren't that important to me about the house.
Huh.
I don't mention how much money is made in here at once. I talk about maintaining financial freedom, right? That's a big part of this, but it's also, I have this plan of helping. I have 10 to 50 people per month start the process of like selling in e-commerce, right? Because that's one of the things that I do. That's a decently large business the way that I have it set up. So it's, that's about as much as I would like to handle in that particular business. But then I talk about, because I'm a blacksmith. And I spend most of my time creating things in this future state: armor, gadgets, swords. I finish my catalog. I teach jujitsu every day. I'm a published author with accolades and requests to speak in front of large audiences, right? So I go into a lot of detail in here, and I am not finished. You actually gave me some ideas to consider.
You're not bringing in. You're bringing in such. You're bringing in such a thought-based thing. You're not going into the smells. You're not going into the other senses. You're not going into what thought. What does it smell like? What does it feel like? What are you wearing? What thoughts go through your head? What are you looking at? What are you not where, what are you actually looking at in a specific moment? That level of detail will make everything else you're saying much more real.
Mhm. I wonder how Marcus Aurelius went about this, or if he ever did. If he sat down and was thinking about that, because he had some great mentors, right? I want to switch gears for a second.
Yeah.
So you told me know thyself, understand thyself, and then we talked about two-part question. Number one is, as you're hiring people and as you're looking for a partner, is there a specific test that you take someone through? Either a personality test like the Strengths Finders or the Culture Index, or is there like you have to go and meet with the person at a specific cafe that you know the manager of the cafe and they know to get the order wrong for the person that you bring in to see how they respond to it? Like, how do you get to know the people that you're hiring and you're partnering with to make sure that they're the right fit for you?
Sure. Now I don't have my own style, and I'm not sure it's the correct one, but what I looking for a partner that's willing to work for free. We're not, starting a new company, that's going to be pure sweat equity. And I'm looking for another, I'm talking to partners there, and I'm talking to some people who just want to throw money in and just believe in the idea. And to get somebody and I'm looking for, on the operations side, a 9 to 5, somebody who's, not this is just one of 8 side hustles, that this is the full-time thing. So a lot of people aren't, that marks off a lot of people, lot of people, what side hustle, what's your dream? I always ask people, what is it your 2-year, where are you in 2 years? Exactly where are you? Where are you in 5 years? What does it look like? What are you doing? What's your day to day? I also do a method. I do what I call the boil the frog method, which is I'll spend hours on an interview because I'll just smoke people out. People who are false or inflate themselves or whatever. It's hard to keep a face for a long time. And I think there's so much fakery in the world these days. So many people just repeating things they heard other people say because they think they're right, but it's not. It starts to fall apart when it takes too long if somebody's going for something. Um, I'd say, I'm asking people to just believe in the idea, and I want to know where they've been, and I'll spend a lot of time with those folks. I want to know hobbies. I want to know what they do in their free time. I want to know everything.
Hmm.
I do really deep online research. The LinkedIn tool you talked about is just the beginning.
Part question, a little bit more esoteric.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it kind of gets to the root of what we've been talking about is, let's say that you had a time machine and you could go back to a point of vulnerability in your life, 16 years old, 10 years old, 5 years old, and you can leave a little piece of paper in their pocket to find, little fortune cookie size slip of paper. What are you going to write on that little piece of paper to your little vulnerable self, and why? And how old are you?
Oh, this is a sad one, man.
We're ready.
It's a really sad one.
I can guarantee you we've had worse on the show. We've had some sad moments on here with tears and stuff, so it's all good.
This is close. It's when I'm 27. I'd stick a little note that says, stick to your guns or stick to your values. Don't sacrifice your values. And the moment that happened was, so my first wife and we weren't interested in, I said, look, I don't want to get legally married, but I think it's a social arrangement. And she was fine with that. She didn't care, she's like, I never thought I'd be married in my life. So, yeah. But I had both sets of parents sit me down separately, and mine and hers, and they basically talk to me and have one of those come to Jesus moments. They're like, you have to do it like an actual legal marriage and like the whole wedding thing. And I was like, and I've oftentimes optimized my life around just not having bullshit problems to deal with and like stressors. So I was just like, at the time it was just easier to say, oh, whatever. I don't see the point in spending a ton of money on the wedding or anything like that. We already did a ceremony. If you guys, but that's my only thing. If you guys want this, it's your decision. The day after our wedding, which had, hundreds of people and family members and all this stuff, on the drive back to Los Angeles, we were living in Venice at the time. It's a beautiful road back. We were coming back through Santa Barbara. We got married at a winery in Central California. And on the drive back, my now ex-wife, said, she didn't feel I paid enough attention to her at the wedding, and I embarrassed her because whatever. But she said, I'm going to get an abortion and I want a divorce. And those two words, because she was pregnant at the time, people didn't know it, but it was with our first daughter. I shouldn't even be saying this stuff on camera, but I think very few people will see this, or who knows, but not my, yeah, no, yeah, but it's just that from those two words, I was controlled. I'd become controlled. And I had a decision in that moment to make. And I knew, and took the decision to grovel and beg for forgiveness. But I know that she never would have done those things. She never would have actually done those things. They were just threats. At the time, she felt hurt. She wouldn't have done either of those things. But I could have said, I know the correct response now. I could have said, go do it, but do the divorce first before the abortion, because I won't live with somebody who, will do something like that. But she wouldn't have done it. And she would have calmed down and we would have made up and everything would have been different. But my reaction was not that. And I didn't stand my ground. I didn't stand for my values. And from that moment on, I became controlled, and I still think, what would have happened if I responded differently?
How long until you realized that after that happened? How long until the thing that you wrote down on the slip of paper was neurocognitively fixed in your brain? 5 years, 10 years of like, and then finally you realized, oh damn, like I should have stuck to my guns, and in that moment done that. How long did it take you to realize it?
Probably 5 years.
Years, man. Control.
That was,
I love it.
that's,
Thank you for the vulnerability. Anything you want to add to that? Any other?
I guess part of knowing myself is my gut reaction. In retrospect, I also realize I reacted too quickly, and I wasn't in control of myself. And those two words are trigger words for me. They're things I don't believe in, and I don't believe. And in retrospect, I take a longer time to make decisions now. I give myself a lot more space because I am so easily excitable, because I am so easily stoked by ideas. And the flip side you see in that situation I just mentioned. But now what I do is I spend time to breathe before even speaking. I give myself a lot of space before I make big decisions. Too many people's annoyances, it annoys a lot of people around you. And I think that's actually the barometer of your take your time. Take your time. It's your decision. But I'm a big fan of us controlling our lives and our direction and our body, and even down to the fact of knowing what foods we put in our body. How is it made? What's actually in it? All these sorts of things. I think it's so easy to just allow life to take you where it wants, especially nowadays, rather than being in the driver's seat. And that's something I really tell. It's going back to that James Bond version of yourself. I think everybody has this weird, quirky beauty and creativity and gift that they can give to the world if they just tapped into their weirdness. And I see where a lot of society is going. Obviously, we've heard horror stories from China, but even America, the homeowners associations, for instance. And I see so much of the world becoming a beehive, right? A beehive, right? That's the symbol of the Mormon or culture or Utah, the beehive. Wear a sleeve button down shirt and do this way and don't bring up these topics and all this stuff. But I believe the beauty of our existence, of our life, of what was created around us is not in everything being the same. It's in the differences. It's in the magic that each unique person has.
The zest. I love it. John, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on YouTube. I have a channel there. I talk about a lot of business stuff. My name is John, John Crestani, Crest, like the toothpaste, Ani, like the Ani bird. It's in the cuckoo family. It sounds like, oh.
Thanks so much for coming on the show. This has been the Pulse Ox podcast. Please, if you found this episode valuable, give us a like on Spotify and share it with a friend.